Ever wonder what really holds a successful team together? Well, today, we're diving into a blueprint for leadership that's been a game changer for over a century. We're talking about Henri Fayol's 5 functions of management. Think of it as the essential toolkit every single manager needs. But let's back up for a second and ask a really basic question. What does a manager actually do? Seriously, if you've ever been a manager or had one, you know the job can feel like just total chaos. A whirlwind of meetings, emails, and constantly putting out fires. It can seem like there's no real definition to it at all. But what if I told you all that chaos could be boiled down to just 5 core activities? Well, over 100 years ago, a French mining engineer named Henri Frayol did exactly that. He argued that the real work of a manager, no matter the industry, really comes down to these 5 key functions. And here they are. These are the 5 tools in our manager's toolkit. Together, they create a full cycle of looking ahead, taking action, and then checking your work. It's a system that can bring order to pretty much any project or organization. So let's unpack what each one does, and, more importantly, see how they all fit together. Okay, first up, let's talk about the foundational tools. These are the ones you use before the action really kicks off. This is all about laying the groundwork, setting yourself up for success. So these 2 functions are basically the architecture of achievement. Planning is all about the what and the how. It's your strategy, your roadmap for where you want to go. Then you've got organizing, which provides the who and the with what. This is where you build the vehicle to get you there. You assemble the right team, you get the budget, you gather the tools. And here's the key. One without the other is totally useless. A brilliant plan with a disorganized team, well, it goes absolutely nowhere. All right, with the blueprint drawn, it's time to move on to the next set of tools. This is where a manager's people skills really come into play. It's the active, human-centered part of management, where all those plans start to meet reality. Now, I know what you might be thinking. Commanding? It sounds a little dated, right? A bit top-down. But just think of it as clarifying direction. It's making sure every single person on the team knows their role and what they need to do right now. But here's the catch. Just giving orders creates silos. And that's exactly why it's paired with coordinating. Coordinating is the art of weaving all those individual efforts together, making sure that, marketing and sales and engineering aren't just working hard, but they're working in sync. One provides focus, the other creates flow. So, the plan is in motion, the team is working together. But how do we know if we're actually heading in the right direction? This brings us to the final and maybe most crucial tool in our toolkit, the compass. The word controlling can have a pretty negative ring to it, but in this framework, it's not about micromanagement, not at all. It's about being agile. Think of it as the nervous system of your whole operation, constantly gathering feedback to see if the strategy is actually working. This is the function that lets a team learn and adapt, instead of just blindly following a plan that's not even relevant anymore. And this feedback loop is beautifully simple. First, you measure your actual results, what's really happening. Second, you compare those results against your original plan. Is there a gap between what you expected and what you got? And finally, the most important step, you correct the deviations. You adjust your strategy or your resources or how you're doing things to get back on course. It's this continuous cycle. Measure, compare, and correct. So we've looked at each tool one by one. Now let's step back and see the toolkit as a whole. How does this all come together to create a real system for effective management? And this is probably the most crucial insight of all. Fail's functions are not a checklist. They're a dynamic, interconnected system. What you learn from controlling directly feeds into your next round of planning. When you're good at coordinating, commanding becomes almost effortless. Each function actually makes the others stronger. And even in today's world of agile teams and remote work, this system gives you the underlying physics of how to turn a bunch of individuals into a focused, effective team. It's pretty amazing when you think about it. Frayol developed this framework in a world of mines and factories, and yet its core logic is as relevant as ever. So I'll leave you with this question. Looking at your own team or your own organization, whether you're all in an office or spread across the globe, which of these 5 tools do you think is needed most right now?